everyone, it's Heather from Sailor Sky Inspirations, and today I want to come to you to talk about, have we become accustomed to bad, toxic behavior? So before we get started, as always, I am not a professional therapist or anything of the sorts. This is just my personal opinion from my personal experiences that I'd like to share with you in hopes that it could help someone out there. I also turned my comments off because I've gotten a few weird comments, and my platform and my channel is for positivity, and I will not tolerate bullying or negativity on my page whatsoever. That kind of defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do. So back to, have we become accustomed to bad behavior and toxic behavior? So the energy right now in the world, it's pretty obvious that there are some narcissists and toxic people in our world and on the world stage right now. Now, I can't diagnose these people with narcissism. That's just, I don't have that power, or I don't have that education to do that, but we can tell that some of these people have really bad toxic behavior. And as a whole in society, have we become accustomed to that behavior? Just from a few experiences in my life and everyday life, from job, school, just everyday life, I have noticed that bad behavior, obviously it's everywhere, but it's up to us as individuals to learn how to emotionally regulate ourselves and not project those emotions onto other people. So, for example, I worked in a hospital setting for many years, and I worked in all departments of the hospital, and I witnessed some really, really bad, toxic, and abusive behavior by professionals that are here to help us, and surgeons. The worst was in the OR. I witnessed angry surgeons throw tools at workers or across the room in the middle of surgery, throwing scalpels and sharp tools, or lashing out at staff members and cussing and cursing and screaming and berating. And my whole entire life growing up in school and at home, you're taught to be kind, to treat others how you want to be treated. And I really just was flabbergasted that I'm working in a hospital trying to help people, and the most important people in these situations, a surgeon, is behaving this way, like having a tantrum, that they could not regulate their emotions. And it was almost as if the behavior was just tolerated, and it upset people in the room, but everyone was too scared to say anything or to report that behavior, because unfortunately in situations like that, whoever makes the money talks. So obviously nothing's going to happen to the person who is bringing in the money for the hospital, which is absolutely sad. It's scary. It's abusive. I witnessed abusive behavior in OR rooms, and I never could really, to the point where it was so bad that people quit their jobs. It's just abusive. If you don't go to work to be abused by anyone. And I felt like that culture, and for me it was healthcare because that's where I work, so I'm sure it's across the board in every job, every industry, but I just witnessed it in healthcare. And it was pretty bad that, it really messed with my mental health and others' mental health. But I do feel like there was a culture of, I think people adapted to that behavior and to the tantrums and would go along with it and kind of adapt their personality to that negative, toxic, and narcissistic personalities of those people. So it was almost like you joined the group or you get eaten by that person in that group. So you went along with their bad behavior, and people's personalities, they were one way while we were working, and then outside of that they were different. And I felt like probably because they weren't obviously strong enough to put put the surgeon or whoever in their place and would just go along with the bullying and the really toxic behavior. But then outside of that, when they weren't around that, they were a different person. So I didn't like that. I did not like that people could just abuse and get away with it. And it kind of made me really sad that I felt like as a whole, we accepted this behavior, that people can just throw tantrums, not be accountable for their actions. And I mean, we had patients that were, knocked out on the table, having surgery. They don't know this is going on. And this is not just to my hospital that I worked at. This goes on in a lot of hospitals with really bad behavior that we just let happen. And if it is brought up to administration, it's kind of just swept under the rug because these people are bringing in a lot of money for the hospital and they're not going to do anything, unfortunately. I've also witnessed it at my other jobs that, for example, I will give you an example of that. I was at a party with a group of acquaintances. Some were friends. I didn't really know these people that well. We worked together, but they weren't really close. We were at a party, and the party was ending, and this group of people I was with, we'll call this woman Sally. Sally she knew more people at the party. She went to say goodbye. Myself and another person, we had to leave the party early. We had somewhere else to go after, so we were just leaving. And another acquaintance that was with us said, "Oh, we better wait for Sally. Sally, we won't hear the end of it. Sally will be really mad at us if we leave without telling her." And that just threw up a really big red flag for me, because we're not children. We were grown adults with children of our own. That any person it's not like we were leaving to leave her out or just to be mean. Like, we had to leave to go to another party. She decided she wanted to talk to other people at the party. So it shouldn't have been a big deal that we left. But this person, and we work with her, Sally was very on edge. Her emotions were never stable. They were always fluctuating, highs and lows. Definitely had to walk on eggshells around her, and most people did. And to me, I just felt like she's an adult. She should be able to regulate herself and be okay with, two people leaving the party without walking out. It was just walking out to the cars that they were concerned about leaving her. And nobody was leaving her. She drove herself. It was in a safe area. We were at a restaurant in our small town. It was daylight, so there was no issues. It was just that that group of people knew how she would react if we walked to the cars without her. And I just thought that was really strange that these people were so accustomed to walking on eggshells because of her emotions and her behavior, and they know that little things like that set her off. So what I'm getting at is, have we become accustomed to dysregulated people who cannot regulate their emotions, who cannot take a step back and realize, okay, something happened that maybe they don't like, but it's okay, I can regulate and I don't have to throw a tantrum. I mean, this happened regularly with people, and my coworkers would just walk on eggshells. They would do things to make sure that, it didn't disrupt this person and cause a meltdown and a tantrum. Ultimately, it was like an adult tantrum. And that just really bothered me, because as a child, I remember being taught that I had to regulate my emotions, that it's okay to be angry, but there are certain ways that we express our anger. And I just couldn't imagine that people made it to the age of 40 and they're still having tantrums over people walking to their cars while they were still socializing. So, and I see this across the board, and if you watch the news and certain personalities, you can tell that there's just really bad behavior, and just feel like we've become accustomed to bad behavior that nobody wants to take accountability for their bad behavior. So obviously we have no control over how people react or how they behave. We only have control over our own behavior. And my idea of remedying this issue is to start within yourself. And if you have children or influence over children, the next generation, to really teach them how to emotionally regulate themselves, and that anger is okay. It's okay to have anger, but we have to deal with anger in a very healthy way. So if we can teach ourselves and our children how to regulate ourselves, to exercise when you're feeling mad, journal when you're feeling mad, ask yourself why you're feeling mad, why you're feeling triggered, that it's not okay to abuse other people when you're feeling mad. It's not okay to lash out at other people. It's not okay to take out your anger on other people, that you have to deal with it on the inside. And obviously we can't change the world. We can only change ourselves. And by changing ourselves, it's a ripple out effect. And that shines light and helps other people when you're taking the initiative to help and heal yourself. So I thought that was a good topic to talk about, because the world is just upside down. There's a lot of negativity and bad coming to the surface, but it's all being healed, and it's allowing us to see the shadow side where we can heal ourselves and heal each other to make things better for ourselves and to help ourselves regulate and have a more positive experience. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and I will see you all later. I love you all. Bye.